What's up, guys? Nate with RAT Jiu Jitsu Club. I thought I would bring you a video about surviving. You're going to hear this term a lot. There's a lot of videos on YouTube about, that white belt, especially white belt, is for surviving, the surviving mentality. That should never stop as you go through the belt ranks. If you don't know me, I am a purple belt, 3-stripe purple belt instructor at Forge Combat Academy in Southwest Washington. I've been teaching now for almost 3 years, and the number one concept that I try to tell my students all the time is that the surviving mentality should stick with you throughout your entire journey. It's something that we hear a lot, is that jiu-jitsu is a journey, and it is a journey. There are many moments that are mind-blowing, and all of a sudden something just clicks, or an idea or a concept, or you just start finding a lot of success in submissions. Your submission rate goes up, or your escaping rate goes up. But all of that should be, there should be an exclamation point on surviving, in my opinion. We all want to be that person in the gym who is just a monster and submitting everybody, and everybody, talks about how well they move and how awesome their submissions are. But the only way to get there is to make sure that we can survive. So number one is not getting submitted, learning how to not get submitted when we're on the bottom, right? Those concepts would be like, I shouldn't be pushing away from my opponent. If my partner or my opponent is on top of me and I'm pushing them away, I'm giving my arms away. I'm giving my elbows, leaving my elbows up, giving my arms away. And that's a good way to get submitted, right? Are my hands inside? If my hands are on the outside and I'm grabbing a hold of my partner or my opponent when I'm rolling, I'm not protecting my neck. It's a good way to get your neck choked. Get choked is somebody's going to wrap around your neck because you don't have anything inside to protect your neck from getting choked, right? These are really basic things that we learn. I'm going to go over some examples of this on the mat later on, but just as a concept, when you're going in to train, let's bring something to work on every day that I go in to train. Especially if I'm only training once a week or twice a week, I really need to be focused on understanding what not to do. And if I'm just focused 100% on getting to that top position and manhandling my partner, I haven't been training very much. I don't have a big bag of tools yet. So that's what we rely on, right? We rely on our strength and our speed, and it's all good, and it makes a lot of sense when you roll with someone your same size or smaller, which happens a lot, especially if you're a big, strong guy. You end up being on the top position because you can just force your way there. But when you start rolling with people who are at a higher skill level, or people that are bigger than you find yourself in that bottom position. And if you have spent 6 months learning how to Ezekiel choke from mount or cross collar from mount, and you're doing that with smaller opponents who can't get you off of them, then all of a sudden you get with somebody who's putting you in those positions and you don't have any escapes in your bag, escaping the mount, escaping the back, escaping side control, getting back to your guard, or if you just don't have any guard at all. I've seen that happen a lot with big, strong wrestlers. They work what they know how to take you down, and they're very effective at that. But when they get rolled or swept into a bad position, they don't know how to get out of it. Or if they're holding somebody in their guard, they're really just locking their legs, holding on for dear life, and hoping that the time runs out before they get into worse trouble. So you should be spending time on your back. Even if we're in a competition, we don't want to be on our back, right? I want to be in the top position, controlling and submitting from that position. But if I don't understand how to get there from the bottom, I'm really at a disadvantage, right? One of the things that I pride myself on is trying to be able to get out of most everybody's mount, most everybody's back control, and most everybody's side control, that I can find guard again. And then once I get to guard, I'm going to sweep you or submit you from that position. So there's a whole lot of confidence that comes with that. When you know that, whether you get mounted or not, you'll be able to escape that position and get to a better position, it's just going to make your offense jump up. You're going to start taking risks that you wouldn't normally take. It's going to find positions you wouldn't normally find, because you know that if something happens and you end up in that bottom position, like let's say you're working an arm bar from mount, you fall back, you've got the arm, but you just have a really loose arm bar, your finishing skills aren't polished yet, and that person gets up on top, passes your guard, and now you're inside control and they start to pass them out. You have to know how to get out of that situation, So keeping that survival mindset as a white belt through your blue belt and onwards is really valuable to have. In my class, generally for warm-ups, I like to do situational sparring where I put people in these positions. So no matter what experience level you're at, whether you're a white belt or a purple belt, you're going to find yourself in this situation. Somebody's going to have your back for 2 minutes, and your job is going to be to escape. And if there is an escape, you go right back to that position. We don't continue the roll. You have to fight from that position the entire 2 minutes. And then vice versa. Once you have somebody's back, you have to control for that 2 minutes. And if somebody escapes, you get right back. You get your controlling skills and your escaping skills back at a high level. And the only way to do that is to practice over and over and over and over again. So again, back to that surviving mentality, is that if you're not practicing your escaping skills, if you're not practicing making sure that you're not getting choked, you're pushing your arms out because maybe you're just very, very strong, or you're quick and you can get out. Like, if you're not using technique to do these things, you're going to have a hard time when somebody with better technique or somebody bigger and stronger than you gets on top of you. So keeping that surviving mentality is super important. And I would recommend that to get these skill levels up, if your school doesn't do it, or if your teachers or instructors have different ways of warming you up, right? I would suggest that when you do have time after class, when you're rolling or open mats, instead of always trying to fight from the feet, instead of always trying to fight from the knees and trying to find that top position, I would get with some of the training partners that you respect, that you know are going to give you a challenge, right? If I'm going to try to escape the back and I choose somebody who's 60 pounds lighter than me and not as skilled as me every time, there's value to that, but at a certain time you have to have some challenge to get out of those positions. So spend some time there. Spend some time at learning to escape, and just, if you get tapped, just go right back to that position, and realize that there's a reason why you got tapped. There's a probably something that you didn't do or something that you did. I brought my hands down to grab the ankles to try to push them when I have my back taken. I give my neck away and I got choked. Or I'm in mount and I try to turn to my side or turn to my back to try to get out of that position, and then they took my back and they choked me. Or I used my hands to push away my opponent when they're mounted on me, and I gave them my arm and they swung across and took my arm. Those are things that we have to learn not to do, and that should all be in that survival mentality. So try to come up with a few examples of things, and this can work with leg locks, this can work with any position. Once you start getting into those intermediate and advanced levels, and you just want to start working from 50-50, you want to work from half guard, you want to work from specific open guards, like that's all, it's the same thing, right? We just want to make sure that we're spending a lot of time in those positions that make us uncomfortable or we don't understand very much, okay? So try to keep that survival mentality, and you'll progress really well, okay? So I hope you found this useful, and we'll see you in the next one, all right? Peace.